What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York calling from the Altar again, and this time we got Sakis of the Almighty, Rotting Christ. It is so great to finally be able to talk with you. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, nice to meet you guys. Sorry for seeing me like this because I'm somewhere on the road. I pulled my car, and thus I'm here somewhere in the middle of Athens. Have a view there, and giving this interview. Hope you okay.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, hey, celebrating one of Greece's best metal bands in the heart of Athens, I think that is totally fine.
It's special. It's unique indeed. I never given an interview like this, but I think makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. One of a kind. But this new album, Pro Xristoy, is absolutely incredible. Thank you for giving us another fantastic album.
Thank you, brother.
Was there sort of a vision that you had in mind for this album? Was this just picking up where you left off after The Heretics, or was this meant to be a new beginning for Rotting Christ?
I don't know if it's a new beginning. I think that for sure we closed the period that started from Κατά τον Δαίμονα αυτού, included albums like Rituals, Κατά τον Δαίμονα αυτού, and Heretics. Now we go in a different position, like more metal, more metal. And I don't know if it's a new start. I don't know. I'm 52 now. I don't know if I have the power to go on with a new start or experiment something new. But what I know is for sure is that I always give my best because I'm the only composer of the band. I'm the composer since the day one, and the only I can do is like giving a good album. I don't want to experiment anymore. I just leave for the new kids, for the newcomers now to do that. For me, it's like, all right, I'm here, and I think that I have prepared some good heavy metal songs, heavy, dark, atmospheric songs. That's all.
Well, it's funny you say that because when you compare the evolution from the Mighty Contract to Non-Servian to the Dead Poem, Genesis, Chronos, every album has things about it that make me remember it. Like, I feel like when you look at Chronos, you take a song like Art of Sin or My Sacred Path. You're not,
right.
I feel like a song like that, I would not expect to hear a song like that on Genesis, or I would expect to hear a song like that on The Heretics. Does every album have a vision in mind? Do you have like a concept that you wish to address or a statement to make?
I have a concept. Yes. I have a concept, and the concept for me, it's lyrically, it's the before Christ civilizations. It's a pagan album. My vision is to write good songs, metal songs, inspired from all Rotting Christ history. I mean, you can listen elements on this album from Heretics, but you can also listen elements from the old days, from Triarchy of the Last Lovers album. You can listen a lot of elements from all different eras of the band. So this is musically my vision. My lyrical vision this time is not that satanic or not that dark. It's more pagan. It has to do, as I told you before, with civilizations, with wisdom, with ancient wisdom that is hidden from Christianity. I'm here in Athens, okay? Usually when you walk in an ancient place, you see a church there. I was always curious to see why this happened. I just realized that everywhere there is a church, there is something, an ancient place, an ancient monument. This means that modern Christianity has destroyed all the ancient wisdom. So that was a very good idea for me. That was that gives me something like influence to write something about this. So I searched, and all Europe is full of this. Europe is full of this ancient wisdom that is hidden somewhere. So this album, Pro Xristoy, which means, as I told you before Christ, has to do with this concept.
And it seems, because coming from Greece too, I feel like Greece is one of the most spiritual places on earth, because you're talking about Pro Xristoy, but like I know that Chronos, for example, that is a reference to the god that ate his sons, very famous Caravaggio painting,
Yeah.
which is one of my favorite paintings ever. And then, you have the heretics that have different spiritual references as well. And I feel like, too, with Greece coming, being the home of mathematics, the bedrock of democracy, I feel like that there is some of that concept demonstrated in an album such as A Dead Poem or Sanctus Diabolos. So does the concepts that you have in mind, does that, obviously that influences the lyrics, but does it also guide your hand to how you make the music too? Like, do you feel like maybe if this was an instrumental album, it would also demonstrate very much the same thing?
Yes, it does. Yes, of course. Since I remember myself, we are taught in school about this ancient philosophy, ancient civilizations, all this ancient wisdom. This is somehow, it's somewhere here. That gives me influence, that influenced me, whether or not to write maybe sometimes more spiritual music. Okay, that's why all the bands from Greece, you hear, I think that we have created our unique sound. Any bands you listen, not any bands, but all the bands that we started this Hellenic black metal thing back in the days, they're inspired instinctively from the wisdom and from the wisdom you have taken living in a country like this. Of course, new modern Greece has nothing to do with it. It's modern Greece is like every country all around the world. It's a capitalistic country. They just care about money, blah, blah, blah. But always there are spiritual people out there, people that seeking for more things in life. I don't know, maybe we are getting old now, but maybe this sounds funny to a new kid. But there are people that are more spiritual and they are influenced from all things, from spiritual things that we have this since we are early kids. That means that yes, our music is inspired from the place, from our birthplace, the place we live.
Yeah. And you know what? It's so fast because I've interviewed other Greek metal bands such as Septic Flesh and Scar of the Sun and Nightfall, and they all have a very similar principle and integrity. That's why, not to throw dirt at like the Norwegian black metal, but like when a lot of those early Norwegian black metal bands were saying we want to go back to the early roots of this and stuff, I'm like, I don't necessarily believe in that in a way. Maybe, and not to say that it's not there, but like I think the stories of Odin and paganism and all that is more fantasy oriented, whereas within Greece, one of the oldest civilizations in the world, I feel like bands like Rotting Christ or Septic Flesh or Nightfall really are the closest to the roots of the earth when expressing those concepts.
And many others.
Yep, absolutely. But has there ever been a time where maybe your music was inspired from personal experiences, from your own trials and tribulations, or are you using Rotting Christ or your solo work or any project you're involved with as a means of escapism from who Sakis really is?
What do you exactly mean?
Do you just use this music as an escapism, or does your personal life also become a source of inspiration?
More escape. I'm escaping with music, creating music. Since I remember myself, I remember a person and a really person that suffers, mentally suffers many times. But I'm very lucky that I have my music and that saved my life and I'm very glad that I can compose things and some other people out there can listen to my music. That makes me happy. That gives me power to go on. Many times I'm asked why you are still doing after 35 years. No, I'm doing because I offer something. I have the feeling that I offer something. There are some people over there that they are happy about my music and that gives me power to go on. There is no other way to go on nowadays. After 35 years, believe me, it's so hard for me to deal with all this modern situation about travelings, about terrorism, about all this bullshit. There are people like me out there, people that I can speak to their souls with my music, and that gives me power to go on. So it's a kind of salvation. That's why I also have in my own music, my own solo project. I write also music without any labels, not record labels, nothing. I just release my music and give it for free to the people, just listen it. that makes me happy. That reminds me the very early days when I started the band.
Do you feel that maybe in Rotting Christ, by going under the name Sakis, that's who we know you as? Do you feel like that maybe you portray an alter ego in Rotting Christ, or maybe, I don't like this term, but maybe like a character, if you will?
Yes, it is ego. I'm not an egoist. I'm not a person like this, but I'm sure the person that always in Rotting Christ keep on going when everything was done. I mean, I'm the person that I have sacrificed, okay, together with my brother, but still, you know, I'm the person that will always take responsibility about everything. The person that I have sacrificed everything in his life doing this, and the person that I know destroyed his life, sometimes his social life. For a purpose, for a mission. Yeah. My mission, what's the mission? The mission is to play music and unite people. Music unite people.
And
you know something?
And I've noticed that with I've had the privilege of seeing Rotting Christ now twice, on the 2016 tour at Gramercy Theater, and then the recent tour that you just did with Uda. Fantastic, and Karakangren, a fantastic, magical experience. And I find it ironic because people think, because of the blasphemistic nature or the aggression that's demonstrated, that it's meant to be divisive. But I think really you managed to show that darkness and pain is useful, and how it does unite people together.
Of course, unite, you know, there is darkness here. There is darkness there too. I put out with music. And what I see, that there are people all around the world that more or less have the same problems. Everywhere you play, the metalheads are the same. It's a unique people, and that we share the same music, the same feelings. Even if you play in Siberia or even if you play in Latin America, for me it's the same. For me, it's something unique, and that makes me happy, and that we are doing something in this life.
And you most certainly, because, you know, I've always said that the beautiful thing about the type of music we listen to is that it makes darkness our armor rather than our anchor.
Exactly.
But when it comes to how you express yourself, being both a vocalist and a guitarist, do you express yourself in a similar way with both instruments? Do they express the same side of who you are, or is there something about the guitar that could express something that maybe you can't lyrically, and vice versa?
Guitar makes more melody. I like melody. I have cried many times in my life with melodies. Really cried, because it touched my soul. So I prefer guitar. On the other hand, I write all the instruments. I can write all the instruments. I can record the instruments. I can compose. When I compose, I thinking all the instruments. But guitar is my main thing, and because guitar have saved my life. I'm not the best guitar player, but definitely I'm a dedicated guitar player that give his best in writing a riff, because a riff can change your life. And for me, this is a mission.
One little funny question I ask, because I've done thousands of interviews, and when I ask a lot of time how a song starts, most of the time they're saying it always starts off with a riff. Do you think we're ever going to run out of riffs, ever?
No fucking way. No, I can write riff anywhere, even if when I'm asleep. Do you know how I used to sleep 2 years ago? Thinking riffs. Some people think about his life, what they did this day, or what they are going to do. Many times I sleep while I'm thinking riffs in my mind. And then the other day, I just get a guitar and give a reality.
Does that creative inspiration, like to get that creative energy, do you go looking for that? Do you seek out the inspiration, or do you just let it strike you?
I'm seeking sometimes because I feel alive. And sometimes the deadlines kills me. I mean, all right, you have to finish with the recordings in a month from now. What the fuck is this? But this is a reality nowadays, okay? So sometimes I'm pushing myself to find something. Usually it doesn't work. What works is just to escape from this busy world, from this crazy world, make your own world, to speak with yourself and to come out with something that makes sense, something that can speak to someone else. And this is what I always do. When it's to push something, usually doesn't come.
Do you, and because you have so many historical references in Rotting Christ, again with this new album representing the before Christ era, but then having many different concepts such as Chronos, is there like a lot of research involved? Are you looking at art or literature or film or other mediums as sort of like stacking ammunition for inspiration?
Always, I read before I start writing. I don't want to write always about the same topics. I always search, and I want, after each song I write, someone to Google the title sometimes. For instance, we just released 2 days ago a new song that is called Apostate. Apostate, what's apostate? It's apostate, okay? But if you Google who is apostate, it's a Roman Empire that resisted the coming of Christianism in Europe. That I want to make people think more with my music, if they have time nowadays, okay? Because I feel that everyone is very busy and many times they don't have enough time. But on the other hand, I feel like I want you to learn something more with my music.
I feel like this is a joke I made, and I mean it as a compliment. I feel like Rotting Christ is the most educational black metal band.
Many people say that, and they use many languages. I like language. I like to learn about the history of each place. I like to see people how they react in their history, not only. And I want not to speak anymore about the standard topics. I would like to make some other things that, of course, they are dark. They come from the dark side of our mind, okay, of our soul. I don't write for love. I don't write for relationships. I don't write for everyday things. I think, why to write? I mean, who cares?
Well, I
want to write that.
Oh, please. Or is it?
That's all.
Okay.
I want to write something that is useful, and maybe can force someone to Google the title at least to find out what it's about.
Because when I was getting into Rotting Christ, I was a late bloomer with Rotting Christ. I was born in '93, and I didn't start getting into this genre until I was in my mid-20s or early 20s. But I thought when I first heard the album Triarchy of the Lost Lovers, I thought that maybe that was like a personal love story or album for you or something like that. But then I had to Google and really see what that was all about.
No, it's not.
Yeah, so I've learned. But when the darkness is the fuel to your fire, sometimes I say that artists could become victims of their own product in a way when, that negative energy is the source of inspiration. Is there an art to handling that darkness so you don't kind of lose yourself in the process of making music?
I take the role many times. I take the role to write something. This is very dangerous sometimes. You can lose your balance. You must handle of these feelings are not easy. If you want to write real music that comes really spiritual music, you must get into the role. I do many times, but I keep distance a little bit because you can easily lose your mental balance. So it's a processor. It's a kind of ritual.
Yeah, because I've talked with I interviewed Glenn Benton from Deicide a couple weeks ago, and he says you gotta clock out of who sometimes you are. Like you can't be serious or fueling that anger all the time because it's gonna make you forget why you picked up an instrument to begin with.
That's true. Truth.
Do you feel like when you're playing the Eroding Christ live, a show live, because you know when I go see you live, everybody's like, "Oh, I hope they do some Heretic songs. I hope they do a non-Servium song or a Mighty Contract song." So when you're going down the set list and you know going through many different spaces in time, do you think that that brings another layer of context to the song?
Not always, but what I can guarantee, it's like a hell of work to choose a set list from a band that has released 15 albums. They have almost 200 songs out there, and don't want to disappoint anyone because we love our fans. That's all. It's a pain in the ass.
I bet it is. But I've always said, like, do you feel like if you were to play like a song off of A Dead Poem, it puts you back to who you were in 1997? If you were to play a song off of Rituals, it's gonna put you back in who you were in 2016. Does it almost kind of feel like time travel in a way?
It does. It's a good trip. It's a good trip, a good trip into the time. And for instance, when we play very old songs, I feel younger. I feel more aggressive. I feel furious. I feel demonized. Which is good when you play the role. When you are on stage and you want to pass the songs to the people.
Yeah, because
yes,
because I feel like a band's catalog is the perfect representation on how time is relative. Again, I was a late bloomer with Rotting Christ. You know, I was one when you put out Non-Servium, so it doesn't take me back to 1994 when I listened to Non-Servium. It takes me back to 2015 when I was first getting into that music, if that makes sense.
Yes, it is something like this. Yes.
How do you know when you are finished with a song?
Never know. I force myself and say, that's all. Enough. Enough is enough. One song maybe can take me sometimes weeks because I always doubt about myself, doubt about my capabilities, doubt about my personality, about the creation. But in the end, I say, come on, fuck off. Enough. Enough is enough. You cannot spend more days. Nothing is getting bad. A good trick is when you wake up the day after and you realize if the song is good or not. Usually when you finish a song, say, wow. You say, it's a kind of orgasm. You say, all right, that's perfect. This is something that I write. But the other day, this is the trick, in my opinion. Wake up and realize that this song is just another song. So if you wake up the day after and you still say that you have released it, you have composed something good, you have written something good music, then it's good.
When you do the research and you read these different books or come up with these different concepts and you translate that to the guitar and you translate that to your vocals, are you trying to almost make is a Rotting Christ album meant to be like a documentary in a way? Like, is this new album meant to be a documentary on before Christ, or is it your interpretation of it? Is it maybe your response to it, or what you feel about it?
No, it's the first thing. It's like a documentary. Simple as that.
Have you ever thought about do you think that maybe you could express this with other mediums too? I don't know why, but I almost really want to see a Rotting Christ graphic novel.
What do you mean? Say that again because I didn't get the meaning.
Do you think that maybe you could express this through other means outside of music? Like, I would love to see like a Rotting Christ graphic novel. I would love to see maybe how you could express that, how you could educate us not just through music, but through other means of art as well.
No, I'm not good. No, I'm not a good teacher. I just speak with my soul and really lonely. I'm not the guy, the person that started to say things. The only I can try is one day, maybe if I have time, just to learn my experience or just to share my experience with the newcomers. I remember myself, I was new. I was young. I had no contact with other people. I had no clue how the things were working. What I can do with big pleasure It's just one time to educate newcomers about how it is to have a band. That's all. For the rest, there are historians, people more educated than me. I'm sure that they can do that much better. But what I can do for sure, because I consider myself really experienced, because I'm 35 years here in the scene since the day one. It's like, yes, I can share my knowledge to the other. I don't keep my knowledge for myself. I don't keep nothing for myself. I would like to share. I share my music. I share my knowledge. I share everything I have.
And you led me perfectly into the final few questions I have for you, is because you are a prolific artist, not just with 15 albums of Rotting Christ, but your recent solo work with Among the Fires of Hell is truly magical. Your work with Thou Art Lord, your work with Thou Art Lord, like the Isophoros album, which I thought was really well done, and the Regal Pulse of Lucifer is also truly hard-hitting. Does the creative process change depending on what project you're working in? Is it a different mindset, or is it all, do you have a usual method behind the madness that applies to everything?
No. Okay, let's say I try, especially with my solo project, to write something more melodic. When I feel like this, more romantic, more melodic, then I write something about my project. When I feel like more aggressive, more old school, I write something for Thou Art Lord. When I feel more, more anxious, I write something about with Rotting Christ. I also write music in general. Writing music for me saved my life. Okay, delete or erase all my mental problems I might have during the years, and I'm here, and I'm very glad that I can still do this and just offer my music. Okay, the people there. Depends on the mood I am. Some people may be like other things. For instance, sorry, something is going on here. So I recently wrote an album that I call it 666, Hixi Sigma. That means in ancient Greece, in ancient Greek, 666. All right. You can find in my socials. I have my solo. I have one Sakis Tolis album channel in YouTube. So you can listen to the whole album for free. The Seventh Seeds of Apocalypse. This is a really majestic album, in my opinion. I don't know if you like it or not, but for sure it has to do with Bible, and all these stories in Bible. So I recommend you to listen to that too. It's called The Seventh Seeds of the Apocalypse, and the band is called Hixi Sigma, which means an album that I created by myself. So I write music all the time. I share it with my channel, through my channels, and I share it for free. Okay, listen it and hope you will enjoy that. I will be very glad when someone told me that, yes, I listen to your music and you made my day.
Well, I feel like your music very much has life. Like I've always said, art is life. It grows, it develops, it experiences, and it can even die as well. So I feel like your music, like, it's not just staying in the year that you created it. I feel like the music has relevance and very much serves as
I try a lot for this.
You succeed. I could definitely tell you that. I feel like certain albums.
Thank you. If you say that, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like certain albums, even like the Sleep of Angels or Sanctus Diabolos or
yes,
Aeolo. I feel like they all very much evolved. Like they have a lot of relevance today, and they have a lot of they resonate with a lot of younger fans. As somebody who was born after Rotting Christ is formed and discovered you 20 plus years later, it still, I think, showcases a lot of relevance and brings new life to the new life that comes on the Rotting Christ board.
Yes. If you say that, I feel really proud, and that's all. Because I want my music to be listened to for maybe for another or two generations. I don't want to sound like a modern band that is just come here and nobody cares in a couple of years.
Yeah. No.
So if you say that, you are experienced enough to say that, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And the final question I wanted to ask you is, and I've said it before, there is nothing like a Rotting Christ live show. So I've experienced Rotting Christ both at the Gramercy Theater. The first time I was young, I was just out of college, so I was drunk, going in the pit, having a great time, crowd surfing. And then the recent show, I just hit 30, so I like to maybe sit, have a nice cold drink, and just watch the show and get lost in the experience. Both.
I know.
Yeah, but
You quit very early. 30, life just starts, by the way.
I'm told that by everybody in the industry. But when it comes to playing live for you, is there a similar energy that you channel into a live show as you do when you're songwriting, or are they separate arts altogether?
Yes. See, energy, and I always have a kind of ritual for every show I'm doing all around the world. For me, every show is very important, so I'm always isolated for 1 hour at least, speaking with myself, realizing where I am, why I'm here, and what I have to show to the people. I'm not the person that just playing for money. Okay, money is needed, okay, just to pay my bills and keep me going what I'm doing. But on the other hand, I respect very much the fans, even if you are in front or if you are in the back, okay? So I give a kind of ritual. I have a kind of ritual and, for each show just to give my best, okay?
But here's the brain-picking question. Because when you are playing live, you are taking the material that we hear on the album and you're replicating it. You're bringing it into a live show. So is there anything creative about playing live?
What do you mean creative?
Do you feel like that there's a similar creative spirit or the same creative fulfillment when you have a good day on stage as you do in the studio?
It is. You must feel the song, You must feel the lyrics, and this is very difficult, especially when you are very tired and you have not eaten enough, or you are suffering from jet lag or whatever. It's very important. It's a creation. It's always a kind of creation. You must live your role, and you must show that the people, because the people leave their houses, they pay a ticket. Usually they buy merchandising. They help you, and you must give their best. You must make it. You must make their day. Okay, and not treating them like clients or something. I don't give a shit about this. I'm a fan by myself. I know how it's going on. Yeah, I know how hard it is sometimes to watch a show because I have to leave my family, my people, everyone, just to go and watch a show. I want make these people happy, and I'm doing so. Every show for me, it's a kind of creation.
I love that. And like I said, whether I'm in the pit or whether I'm in the seats, it's an experience that you
anywhere.
Yep. I did not feel like I was at the Gramercy Theater when I saw you. I felt like I was in the soul and in the hearts of Rotting Christ.
Yes, it did.
So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time. I wanted to have...
Thank you, brother. Yeah. I appreciate. Sorry for watching me like this. This is a unique interview. I never give an interview in the streets. I hope you can understand my English because my English are not that good. My accent is very Mediterranean, very Greek. Sorry, I cannot do anything like this. More better accent. I cannot have a better accent. So I hope the people to get what I'm saying, and they really look forward to be back in New York. You are from New York?
Yep, I'm 4 blocks from the Gramercy Theater.
Wow, really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then the next time I pay the beers, okay? Yeah. And thank you all our Northern American brothers and sisters for supporting us all those years. You have a very special place right here. It is not a compliment. It's a reality because any time you play in the USA, we feel great and we feel like you guys are unique and really support the bands. Well, so until next time, no fucking Servium, brothers and sisters.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. First off, your English is fine. It's better than how I pronounce the album. So
okay. And something else. Sorry for the quality. Okay.
No, you're totally fine.
I don't know how it does sound to you, but the quality here, I'm on the streets, maybe there's some noise here.
There's construction happening outside my house, and it's totally fine. Is there just anything else that you want to promote for Rotting Christ with upcoming shows or the release with the release of the new album?
I mean, yes, as every album release, we will be back on the road. I will definitely visit USA, doing as many shows as possible.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Everybody, we are here with Rotting Christ, Pro Xristoy. Be sure to check that out. This is Alex from Heavy New York.
Keep it true. Keep it true, brothers. This is the most important thing. Live, music live. Give us passion. Give us power to go on these wild times.
Absolutely. Could not have said it better myself. Thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next time on Heavy New York.